the Niners have started slow each of the last 2 seasons. This year, it kind of behooved them to start quick because they got some easier games early on, and they got some brutal schedule. It's like cross-country trip every other week down the stretch, and they got to play the Seahawks twice in a 3-week span with the Eagles sandwiched in between. Like, they really need to start fast this year.
Yeah.
How are they going to do that? They got to do something. Like, we're talking about learning lessons and doing things differently. How about the last 2 years? Whatever you did that didn't have you prepared for September and October, what are you going to do differently this year? Where would you start as honorary quality control, Ryan?
I mean, well, the easiest thing is to approach the preseason kind of like they did back in the day, right? Don't approach the preseason the way you've been approaching it. Look at it like, it's an opportunity to work out the kinks, and in order to do that, you got to play your guys. You got to look at it like it's a real game, and that's the main thing I think that they need to do above everything else.
Yeah, I would think so. I think Kyle's been trying to. I think what he had, the problem he had at first was that players were getting hurt in training camp and preseason. I'm trying to think, like Jerick McKinnon didn't make it to the season. There's been other examples, and I think Kyle, what the Rams do a lot of is just like, let's just do nothing this offseason. Let's do nothing in the preseason. Just get our guys to the season. Kyle tries that, and for whatever reason, I don't know, it doesn't work as well for the Niners because all those guys just end up getting hurt early in the season. Because it seems like they're not really in football shape. They might be in shape, but football shape is different. Like, you have to build up a callus, as Jim Harbaugh said, to get hit, all that stuff. And it seems like the Niners don't build up that callus until mid-October. And beyond that, it seems like they don't, by not doing anything all offseason, they don't really develop an identity on their offense until the bye week. Like, they don't figure out what they do well that year. They know what they did well the previous year, and they try that stuff, and sometimes it doesn't work as well. Like all the Debo running stuff, that wasn't carrying you in 20. So what did they do? They're like, let's trade for McCaffrey. Right. And that fixed them. But like they have to sort of reinvent themselves every year, and they do it on the fly. So I think if you're gunning for the number 1 seed, you can't do any of that this year. You really have to take August and September seriously.
Correct.
You can't just punt August and September and think that you're going to be the number 1 seed. Because some team's going to start the season like 7-0, and it won't be you.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm hoping the biggest difference for the 49ers this year is that, like, they approach the preseason. Because here's the thing, like, what are you worried about? Like, an injury setting back and starting slow? Well, by doing that, you've been starting slow. So just go out there and play and find your rhythm early, because I think the 49ers have a real opportunity to start. I mean, they could start 6-0. They could start 4-2, which would be great. But
I had them starting 4-2 and 4-0, so they could do it. But let's see him do it.
Yeah, I mean, Pittsburgh and Dallas is going to be tough, I think. But outside of that, I think the rest are very winnable games. We'll see what happens with Pittsburgh and Dallas. But they have an opportunity to start 6-0, and they have to use the preseason as a real game, work out the kinks, and get everyone going.
But again, like I'd like to see Kyle do something different as an acknowledgement that whatever his plan was the last 2 years was suboptimal. So I want to see that he's thought about it, that he's made a tweak, something different, that he intends to have results. Because if he just does the same thing and says, I just had bad luck in the past and this is going to eventually work out, then again, that's an issue I have with him as a leader.
Yeah.
I mean,
two things one thing I heard also was that I think it was Steve Slowick who said part of the reason that the 49ers, or his brother, not Steve, his brother,
Bobby.
Yeah. So part of the reason why the 49ers have started slow is because of coaching turnover. And this year they have it on the defensive side more. That's
a good point.
More than anything. So that's the thing that I'm curious about as well. Is like, I
need to talk about that.
I'm excited about him, but like, how fast are they going to be able to figure it out?
Well, let's talk about that right now. Niner Grandpa says, I've been calling you out. Don't act dumb. Fans see it. Hey, man, you sitting in your room looking out the window calling me out you got to like contact me in some way, shape, or form. Niner Grandpa. Also, you don't just get to battle. You know what I'm saying? The top MC. You don't get just to battle me because you decided you like rapping last week. Like you got to go through the proper channels, Niner Grandpa.
Start on the call-in show.